Our job is not to divide. Our job is to bring people together. If we do not allow them to divide us up by race, by sexual orientation, by gender, by not allowing them to divide us up by whether or not we were born in America or whether we're immigrants, when we stand together as white, black, and Hispanic, and gay, and straight, and woman, and man, when we stand together and demand that this country works for all of us rather than the few, we will transform America, and that is what this campaign is about. It's bringing people together.
What is a fighter? To me, a fighter is someone who won't give up.
To me, a fighter is someone who's passionate about what they believe in and that will make a difference in people's lives.
Before the Secretary of State, Senator, First Lady of the country. She was just a caring, young, bright, creative student who cared about children and those left behind. Hillary came to work for the Children's Defense Fund when we were a fledgling, beginning organization.
The children I met lived harsh lives. It was so overwhelming because people were being treated like they weren't even full human beings.
There are no miracles in all this. It's hard work. It's sticking with it. It's perseverance. And over the years, she has made a cumulative, I think, significant impact for children.
In September 1995, I was at the UN conference on Beijing.
The history of women has been a history of silence.
Many people in our own government, in our Congress, did not want me to go to Beijing, but you don't shy away from confronting human rights abuses.
It is a violation of human rights when babies are denied food or drowned or suffocated simply because they are born girls.
The entire conference hall exploded in this energy and enthusiasm.
Human rights are women's rights, and women's rights are human rights once and for all.
Hearing the words that she spoke, she taught me that there were no limits to what I could achieve.
Bill asked me to lead up our efforts to try to see if we couldn't get quality, affordable health care for every American.
Now is our chance to beat the historical odds and give the American people the health security they need.
We worked really hard. We weren't successful. I was really disappointed. But you have to get up off the floor and you keep fighting. So I got to thinking, let's see what we can do to help kids.
You want universal health care for children. You seem to be swimming against the tide.
Well, that's because I think the tide is not going in the right direction.
I was very proud when the Children's Health Insurance Program passed.
We have reports this morning that a plane has crashed.
I'm very proud of being part of the recovery work at Ground Zero.
One of the firefighters just said to me, you know, Senator, please don't let anybody forget what happened here, and don't let anyone forget us.
I was so overcome by their courage and their compassion. I knew that I had to also pay attention to what happened to those brave men and women.
She stood up day in and day out, fighting for our medical treatment. It has made a huge difference in my life.
I have spent my entire adult life looking for ways to even the odds, to help people have a chance to get ahead, to find the ways for each child to live up to his or her God-given potential. I'm fighting for all Americans, not just some, for the struggling, the striving, and the successful. No matter who you are, what you look like, what faith you practice, or who you love, I am fighting for you. I'm fighting for everyone who's ever been knocked down but refused to be knocked out. I'm going to fight until every little girl in America knows she can grow up to be anything she wants, even President of the United States.
Ladies and gentlemen, U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton.
I was a Foreign Service officer for 26 years. The fact that she was willing to work for a former rival, President Obama, restored my faith in the political process.
He won and I lost, and then he asked me to be Secretary of State. And I agreed for the same reason. We both love our country.
She was the most dogged, determined Secretary of State I think I've ever seen. She mended relationships with countries that had been frayed, but she didn't just fight for American values abroad. She fought for the families who served the State Department. Secretary Clinton is exactly that kind of fighter.
Everyone deserves a chance to live up to his or her God-given potential. That's the dream we share. That's the fight we must wage.
You know, my dad, the son of a factory worker, could start a small business. My mom, who never got to go to college, could see her daughter go to college.
Everyday Americans and their families need a champion who will fight for them every single day. And I want to be that champion. I want to get up every single day, going to work for you, standing up for you. And I think by now people know I don't quit.
I'm fed up. We have a gun violence problem. So I'm voting for Hillary Clinton. She's tough. She will stand up to the gun lobby. She will fight to make our families safer. It matters.
That Sam I am, that Sam I am. I do not like that Sam I am. Do you like green eggs and ham? I do not like them, Sam I am. I do not like green eggs and ham. Would you like them here or there? I would not like them here or there. I would not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. Would you like them in a house? Would you like them with a mouse? I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. Would you eat them in a box? Would you eat them with a fox? Not in a box, not with a fox. Not in a house, not with a mouse. I would not eat them here or there. I would not eat them anywhere. I would not eat green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am. Would you, could you in a car? Eat them, here they are. I would not, could not in a car. You may like them. You will see. You may like them in a tree. I would not, could not in a tree, not in a car. You let me be. I do not like them in a box. I do not like them with a fox. I do not like them in a house. I do not like them with a mouse. I do not like them here or there. I do not like them anywhere. I do not like green eggs and ham. I do not like them, Sam I am.
Senator Cruz, you suggested Mr. Trump, quote, embodies New York values. Could you explain what you mean by that?
You know, I think most people know exactly what New York values are.
I'm from New York.
Well, you're from New York, so you might not. But I promise you in the state of South Carolina, they do. But everyone understands that the values in New York City are socially liberal or pro-abortion or pro-gay marriage, focus around money and the media. And I guess I can frame it another way. Not a lot of conservatives come out of Manhattan. I'm just saying.
Are you sure about that?
Conservatives actually do come out of Manhattan, including William F. Buckley and others, just so you understand. And just so, if I could, because he insulted a lot of people, I've had more calls on that statement that Ted made. New York is a great place. It's got great people. It's got loving people, wonderful people. When the World Trade Center came down, I saw something that no place on earth could have handled more beautifully, more humanely than New York. You had 100,000 of people killed, And the cleanup started the next day, and it was the most horrific cleanup probably in the history of doing this and in construction. I was down there, and I'd never seen anything like it. And the people in New York fought and fought and fought, and we saw more death and even the smell of death. Nobody understood it, and it was with us for months, the smell, the air. And we rebuilt downtown Manhattan, and everybody in the world watched, and everybody in the world loved New York and loved New Yorkers. And I have to tell you, that was a very insulting statement that Ted made.
What do you think about Ted Cruz's statement yesterday that we need to empower law enforcement to patrol and secure Muslim neighborhoods before they become radicalized?
Doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. To be quite frank with you, I took great offense at that statement. I have almost 1,000 Muslim officers in the NYPD. Ironically, when he's running around here, we probably have a few Muslim officers guiding him. Many of these people are also combat veterans. A lot of them are active duty service members. And so for him to be denigrating the whole population, there is an element in that population that have become radicalized. And we work very hard to try to identify ways to keep that from happening, because once they become radicalized, it's almost impossible to de-radicalize them.
And Chief, prior to your tenure, there was a system in place here in New York that was looking at Muslims. Did that generate any leads?
No. You're talking about the demographic unit, and so what both he and some of the other candidates are talking about, this idea that we disbanded this critical intelligence gathering operation. Not one single actionable piece of information came out of that.
So you're suggesting it might not even work?
It didn't work. Yeah. It didn't work.
His comments are not about safety and security. It's demagoguery. We have 900 Muslim American officers in the NYPD. We have peace-loving, law-abiding Muslim Americans in neighborhoods all over New York City. They should be respected like all other members of our community. To paint an entire community with that brush is absolutely counterproductive. By the way, it's immoral. It does not conform with American values, but it's also counterproductive. It's a great way to alienate thousands and thousands of people and make them feel like they don't belong in this country, and that's not good for anyone.
I would remind the senator he lives in the United States of America. And the statements he made today is why he's not going to become president of this country, because we don't need a president that doesn't respect the values that form the foundation of this country. As the mayor mentioned, I have over 900 very dedicated officers in this department, many of whom do double duty. They serve as active duty members of the U.S. military in combat, something the senator has never seen. So before he starts denigrating any population group, take a close look at who he's denigrating. I take great offense at his characterization of that whole population, particularly with my intimacy with the population in my organization of Muslim officers who are willing to sacrifice their lives in foreign countries and every day step up willing to sacrifice their lives here. So the senator basically, he's really out of line with his comments.
I'm not sure. When my parents, they have a rule of deportation, I'm scared for them because how the deportation, I'm scared that they're going to deport me.
Here, come here a minute.
Okay.
I'm going to do everything I can so you don't have to be scared. And you don't have to worry about what happens to your dad or somebody else in your family. I feel really, really strongly that you're being very brave. And you have to be brave for them too. Because they want you to be happy. They want you to be successful. They don't want you to worry too much. Let me do the worrying. I'll do all the worrying. Is that a deal? I'll do the worry. I'll do everything I can to help, okay?
On the 7th floor of the CIA headquarters in Langley, we met Director John Brennan, who, looking back at his agency's record, says it's had many successes, but also some regrets. In particular, the use of harsh interrogation techniques, such as waterboarding. Never again, Brennan said.
We've learned lessons from the past. We have a lot of capabilities and competencies and skills, and so I don't believe that we need to resort to certain types of tactics.
Like waterboarding?
Absolutely, I would not agree to having any CIA officer carrying out waterboarding again.
A rare step into a political issue by a CIA director. And today, Republican frontrunner Donald Trump fired back.
I think his comments are ridiculous. Can you imagine these ISIS people sitting around eating and talking about this country won't allow waterboarding, and they just chopped off 50 heads?
President Obama banned enhanced interrogation techniques, or EITs, in 2009.
There are absolutely some of those EITs that I certainly would not countenance not only this organization but other organizations from carrying out.
But Ted Cruz has suggested he's open to waterboarding, and Trump far more.
I would use whatever enhanced interrogation methods we could to keep this country safe.
I would bring back waterboarding, and I'd bring back a hell of a lot worse than waterboarding.
This organization will do what it can to protect the American public from the attacks from terrorist groups. I will not agree to carry out some of these tactics and techniques that I've heard bandied about. Because this institution needs to endure.
Republican Party is the self-proclaimed family values party, the moral majority. They're against gay marriage, they're against abortion, they're for Bibles and religion and prayer and all that, and they are the moral authority. They're against swearing on TV. They're against nudity. They've talked about the only discussions of sex in school being discussions that tell you just never have sex. And there's an interesting element that's not being discussed about Donald Trump's candidacy, which is that he is really going the opposite direction of the sort of family values, moral majority type of candidate. His current wife, Melania Naus, now Melania Trump, posed nude for a magazine in Donald Trump's private jet. As John Ponder has written on PensitoReview.com, imagine for a moment that photos emerged of the wife of a past Republican frontrunner, Ann Romney or Cindy McCain, for example, supine on a fur rug in the Altogether. Their husbands' campaigns would have been over faster than Rick Perry could say oops, but for whatever reason, this does not seem to be disturbing conservatives when it comes to Donald Trump. And let's not forget, this is not just about some nude pictures of his wife on his private plane. 14 years after impeaching President Clinton over a sex lie in civil lawsuit, the Republicans are now giving majority support to a notorious philanderer who openly carried on an affair with wife number 2 while still married to wife number 1, and may have started seeing wife number 3, the one who posed nude, while still married to wife number 2.
My most memorable year is 1993, the year I gave birth to my beautiful daughter, Tiffany Trump. I met Tiffany's dad when I was 20 years old. That's 2 years younger than my daughter is now, and it's like kind of frightening when I think about it. At that time, he wasn't a world-known name. I met him through a friend and thought he was, wow, what an interesting person.
I didn't feel anywhere prepared to be a mom at that point in my life. But in October 1993, there we were, bringing little Tiffany Ariana into the world. So, it was just amazing, just amazing.
Was it difficult being a single parent?
Well, later I became a single parent. Her daddy and I divorced in 2000. And yeah, it had its challenges, but in a way, I got to raise her doing our own thing. You know, there wasn't a man there pushing the buttons saying what we could and couldn't do.
I think when you are a single mom, you realize there's things you can do that you never imagined you could do. And that's kind of like now. I'm doing something I never imagined I could do. But just having her there believing in me makes me all the stronger.
I love you. Love you. Thank you.
You got this. My mom and I have the most amazing relationship. We've always had the strongest bond. She is just truly the most amazing mother, and I'm so proud of her, and I'm so excited for tonight, and I cannot wait to see her perform.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that can go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel
Tony. No mellow yellow there. Driving up a storm.
The Republican Party is not really the party of the moral majority or moral authority or family values, but they've been sort of couching themselves in this way since the 1980 election cycle.
If Donald Trump is actually elected President Trump,
President of the United States, Donald J. Trump,
his wife Melania is certain to be like no other first lady in American history.
She'll make a very beautiful first lady, I can tell you. And a great first lady. She's got a great heart.
Wherever she goes, the 45-year-old former model makes an extraordinary presence on the campaign trail.
How are you?
Melania has certainly come a long way from her upbringing in Slovenia. Here she is in 1993 as a 22-year-old model in her native land. Photographer Paolo Zamboli discovered Melania when she was modeling in Milan. He brought her to New York. Donald Trump met Melania at a Fashion Week party in 1998. His attraction to her was instantaneous. They married in 2005. It was a fairy tale wedding, attracting plenty of celebrities, including, of course, Bill and Hillary Clinton, as Trump memorably recalled at the Great Debate a week and a half ago.
With Hillary Clinton, I said, be at my wedding, and she came to my wedding.
The Trumps have one child together, 9-year-old Barron. Melania is an entrepreneur in her own right, selling a jewelry line on the QVC network.
I'm designing for women across the country.
Photographer Jill Wachter snapped Melania for Jet Set magazine.
No politics. We were all about fashion and hair and makeup that day.
If Trump should actually win the presidency, Melania will join a legendary line of other chic first ladies, such as Jackie Kennedy and Michelle Obama.
She could be like the Jackie O of the 21st century, where with her style and grace, we could really have a creative, beautiful, special first lady.
Maybe Donald Trump's popularity would say to Republicans, hey, maybe we should be less concerned with the sort of litmus test of a, quote, good family man, and more concerned with picking a leader that knows what they are doing. Now, as it happens to be with Donald Trump, he is not a good moral family man, nor is he someone who knows what they are doing in the potential role of president. So Trump specifically wouldn't be the right person. But the idea that we should focus more on what the issues are and their qualifications to be president rather than whether they or their wife or whoever posed nude, that's an idea I can certainly get behind.
You and your family have been getting your health insurance through your wife's job. Her company has been Goldman Sachs. She has now left that to help you with your campaign. So where are you getting your health insurance now?
So she's taking an unpaid leave of absence from her job, and so we're transitioning. We'll be getting new health insurance, and we'll presumably do it through my job in the Senate, and so we'll be on the federal exchange like millions of others on the federal exchange.
So you will be getting Obamacare effectively.
It is one of the good things about Obamacare is that the statute provided that members of Congress would be on the exchanges without subsidies, just like millions of Americans. So there wouldn't be a double standard.
But Senator, for right now, the irony is just kind of unbelievable that you have made your name fighting against Obamacare, and you now are going to sign up to get your insurance through that very process, Obamacare.
Listen, it was the case before Obamacare that federal employees could get health insurance through their jobs. That's not a new development. So yes, I'll get my insurance through my job like millions of other Americans. That's not a shocking...
Will you take a subsidy from your job, which is the federal government?
We will follow the text of the law. I strongly oppose the exemption that President Obama illegally put in place for members of Congress because Harry Reid and the Senate Democrats didn't want to be under the same rules as the American people.
That means you are going to take a government subsidy?
I believe we should follow the text of the law.
The law that you want to repeal?